There's a question that has haunted men for centuries, the question that drives ambition, greed, and glory. What is the fastest way to get rich? Most people waste their entire lives trying to answer it. They read books, chase side hustles, follow gurus, and still end up stuck in the same place, trapped by a system that rewards obedience, not brilliance. But here's the truth. The answer has always been in plain sight. Hidden not because it's complicated, but because the people who already know it, the truly powerful, don't want you to see it. They want you busy. They want you working hard, saving, waiting for your big break. Because as long as you're doing that, you're building their empires, not yours. Let me tell you something harsh and real. Riches don't go to the smartest. They don't even go to the hardest workers. If effort alone made you rich, teachers, nurses, and construction workers would rule the world. No. Wealth flows to one thing: power. And those who understand how to turn power into money rise faster than everyone else. Niccolo Machiavelli, the Renaissance strategist who wrote The Prince, knew this centuries ago. He studied rulers who built empires overnight and others who lost them just as fast. He realized something few ever understand. Money doesn't follow morality. It follows dominance. And that's the first law of fast wealth. You must learn to think like a ruler, not like a servant. See, the servant obeys. The ruler decides. The servant works for money. The ruler makes money work for him. And the servant plays safe, while the ruler plays bold. Machiavelli would tell you this. If you want fortune, you must act as if you already deserve it. You must command it. He believed that fortune is a woman, unpredictable, wild, and dangerous, and only the bold, daring, and decisive could tame her. So when we talk about fast wealth, we're not talking about shortcuts. We're talking about mindset, the mentality of those who rise fast because they refuse to think small. Think about every rich person you've ever seen explode out of nowhere, the entrepreneur, the influencer, the investor who seem to appear overnight. It always looks like magic, but it's not. It's design. They knew something others didn't, that safe is slow and bold is fast. When Machiavelli studied rulers, he saw this pattern again and again. The men who hesitated, who waited for perfect timing, who played nice, they were devoured by the ones who acted with speed and conviction. Let me paint you a picture. Two merchants in Florence. Both have talent, ambition, and skill. One works carefully, saving, waiting, cautious about every decision. The other moves fast, takes loans, forms alliances, and risks reputation for opportunity. 5 years later, the first merchant is still small. The second has built a trading empire. The difference? Not luck, not intelligence. It's Machiavellian speed, the art of bold, calculated movement. Here's what most people get wrong about getting rich fast. They think it's about hustling harder, grinding more hours, chasing more opportunities. But hard work alone keeps you stuck in the slow lane. The hardest workers in society are often the most broke, because they've confused motion with power. You can swing a hammer all day, but if you're building someone else's castle, you'll never be king. Machiavelli's first principle is this: control creates wealth. If your time, your labor, and your energy are controlled by someone else, you're already losing. The fastest way to get rich is to stop playing by other people's rules, to stop selling your time and start selling your influence, to stop asking, how do I earn more? And start asking, how do I command more? Let that sink in, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people will never escape the slow game. They'll spend their lives in jobs that drain them, trading years for paychecks that barely keep them afloat. They'll retire with security, but not freedom. They'll call it stability. But it's really a cage with air conditioning. And you, if you're watching this, you have a choice. You can live safe, or you can move fast. You can play their game, or you can build your own. Machiavelli would whisper to you from history, "The one who commands others moves time itself. The one who obeys others is trapped by it." So in this series, we're going to dissect the exact Machiavellian principles that make fast wealth possible, the mindset, the tactics, and the dark psychology behind rapid success. We'll expose why working hard is not enough. We'll uncover how the rich bend time, influence, and perception to their advantage. And we'll learn how to turn power into money, the way rulers, emperors, and modern billionaires have always done. By the end, you'll see what Machiavelli saw centuries ago. That fortune doesn't wait for the good. It waits for the bold. So before we go deeper, remember this first law of fast wealth. Safe is slow. Bold is fast. The world doesn't reward the careful. It rewards the decisive. It rewards those who dare to act when others hesitate. Because when you move fast with strategy, even the gods of fortune bow in your direction. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the hidden design behind wealth. Why the powerful get richer while everyone else stays trapped. And how to position yourself where money flows toward you, not away from you. If you want to get rich fast, forget luck, forget timing, forget talent. Focus on one thing: control. Because control is the engine of speed. Without it, every move you make depends on permission, and permission is the enemy of power. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He watched princes rise to power not because they were the best, but because they seized control before others even knew what was happening. He wrote, "It is better to be the one who decides than the one who must obey." That's the foundation of the power principle. If you depend on others for income, for direction, for validation, you'll always move at their pace, and their pace will always be slow. Think about it. Every wealthy person you admire, the Elon Musks, the Jeff Bezoses, the great merchants of Florence, they all learned the same rule. You cannot build speed under someone else's command. Control isn't about domination. It's about positioning. It's about putting yourself in a place where you decide when to move, and how fast to strike. And that's what separates the fast from the forgotten. Let's go deeper. Machiavelli studied how rulers expanded empires quickly while others stagnated for decades. He saw a pattern. The rulers who moved fast didn't wait for resources. They created them. They didn't wait for approval. They took it. They didn't wait for the right time. They made it right by acting. In wealth, the same principle applies. Fast money comes from leverage, and leverage comes from control. Control over assets, over decisions, over perception. Most people try to get rich by earning more, but Machiavelli would laugh at that. He'd say, "You cannot get rich by working harder for another man. You must become the man others work for." That's not arrogance, that's structure. When you work for money, you're moving on rails someone else built. When you control capital, systems, and people, you're the one laying those rails. That's how kings, entrepreneurs, and strategists move fast. They make money flow through them, not around them. Let me show you something that most never see. Speed in wealth doesn't come from motion. It comes from multiplication. It's not about how hard you run, it's about how many engines are running for you. Machiavelli would call this the art of command. In modern terms, it's leverage. Every rich person you see moving fast is backed by leverage. Systems that earn while they sleep. People who execute their vision. Assets that grow in value without their presence. They have built a network of control, a machine that accelerates wealth automatically. Now let's connect this to Machiavelli's time. In The Prince, he wrote that a ruler must always secure control before peace, because peace without control is an illusion. The same applies to money. You can have a high income, but if someone else can cut it off, you're not in control. You can own assets, but if they depend on unstable systems, you're not in control. You can even run a business, but if you're chained to every task, you're not in control. True control means independence of movement, and that independence is what allows for speed. Here's an example. Two people start with $10,000. One invests it in a safe, slow index fund, 7% a year. The other uses it to create a business system, hiring freelancers, automating tools, reinvesting returns. Within a year, the second has turned $10,000 into $100,000 in controlled velocity. It's not luck, it's leverage. And leverage is only possible when you own the decision-making process. Machiavelli would put it like this: a prince who must always seek approval moves like a shadow. A prince who commands his world moves like lightning. That's what fast wealth looks like. Decisive, unpredictable, blindingly fast. It strikes where no one expects it and changes the landscape instantly. That's the power principle. Control creates speed, and speed creates fortune. But here's the catch. Control isn't given, it's taken. The world will not hand you power because you asked politely. You must seize it, build it, earn it by daring to move where others hesitate. The poor wait for opportunities, the rich engineer them. And that's why Machiavelli would tell you, control isn't about owning everything, it's about owning the flow. Own where the money moves, and you'll never chase it again. So if you want to build wealth fast, start with this. Take back control of your time. Take back control of your attention. Take back control of your direction. Every decision you delegate without strategy slows you down. Every system you own accelerates your future. Control creates speed. Speed creates opportunity. And opportunity in the hands of the bold creates empires, because as Machiavelli wrote, fortune favors the audacious. Not the patient, not the polite, the audacious. In the next part, we'll explore how to engineer that leverage, how Machiavellian minds turn small resources into massive wealth using influence, psychology, and strategy. You'll learn how rulers and modern entrepreneurs create exponential results from almost nothing, and how you can do the same. Most people think money is real. They think it's gold, paper, or numbers in a bank. But here's the Machiavellian truth. Money is an illusion built on confidence and control. Those who understand this illusion master it. Those who don't serve it. Machiavelli observed that rulers didn't just conquer cities, they conquered belief. They learned that perception, not force, was the fastest path to power, and wealth is power's reflection. So if you want to get rich fast, you must learn how the powerful create the illusion that becomes reality. That's leverage. Let's strip this down. A man with $10,000 thinks small. He saves, he waits, he protects. A Machiavellian mind uses that same $10,000 to control 10 times more. He borrows, reinvests, and multiplies perception. He makes others believe he's already rich, and because they believe it, they make him rich. That's not deception. That's psychological leverage. Machiavelli said, men are driven by two things: fear and advantage. If they fear you, they obey you. If they believe you offer advantage, they follow you. That's how the powerful move fast. They don't wait for permission. They build a perception strong enough to open doors that would stay closed to others. Think of it this way. The illusion of power creates real power. The illusion of wealth attracts real wealth. Because in this world, people invest not in what is, but in what they believe will be. That's the essence of leverage. Every fortune built quickly in history started with this. Someone convinced others that their vision was inevitable. And when people believed, resources flowed in. Time, money, alliances, reputation. You can call it branding, marketing, charisma, but in truth, it's Machiavellian theater. It's power disguised as persuasion. When you build leverage through illusion, you're doing what kings, merchants, and billionaires have always done. You're making people see your potential as reality. Let me give you an example. A young merchant in Florence had little money, but he understood perception. He dressed like the wealthy, spoke with confidence, and built relationships with powerful men. He offered them exclusive trade routes, ones he didn't even fully control yet. When they agreed, he gained the control he claimed to have. Within 2 years, he became one of the richest traders in Italy. That's Machiavellian wealth. It's not about what you have. It's about what others believe you control. And here's the secret. Modern society doesn't want you to realize. That same principle rules today. Why do venture capitalists pour billions into startups that haven't made a profit? Why do influencers sell courses before building results? Why do politicians rise faster than their experience allows? Because perception is leverage, and leverage makes time collapse. The poor work linearly. $1 for 1 hour. The powerful work exponentially. One decision creates a chain reaction of value. Machiavelli would say, "He who controls perception controls fortune." And this is how fast wealth truly happens, through creating illusions that attract real resources. Now let's be clear. This isn't about lies. It's about vision with precision. If you claim power, you must grow into it. If you project wealth, you must build systems that sustain it. That's why Machiavellian success is calculated illusion, not fantasy. You create the image first, then move fast enough to make it real before anyone can doubt it. That's how empires are built. The Medici family did it, using loans and appearance to control the flow of capital in Florence. Modern entrepreneurs do it, using branding and storytelling to attract investors. And even you can do it, by positioning yourself as a source of value, not a seeker of approval. Because the truth is, no one funds desperation. People fund dominance. If you appear in control of your craft, your time, your energy, you become magnetic. If you appear uncertain, the world withdraws. This is the silent rule of wealth. People trust what already seems successful. So create success visibly, even before it fully exists. That's the Machiavellian formula for fast wealth. Build an image that commands belief. Use that belief to gain resources. Convert those resources into control. Repeat, faster each time. And that's how money appears to multiply out of thin air. Because what you're really multiplying isn't cash. It's confidence, influence, and movement. Cash follows those things like a shadow. Most people chase money like prey. The powerful attract it like gravity. And that's why Machiavelli's words echo louder today than ever. Appearances are everything. Men judge more by their eyes than by their hands. The eyes decide faster than the mind. That's why speed favors those who look powerful first. So remember this. Wealth doesn't move to the most deserving. It moves to the most convincing. And once you understand how to wield perception, you'll never chase opportunities again. They'll chase you. In the next part, we'll go further into strategic boldness. How to strike when others hesitate. how to move so fast, so decisively that you create momentum impossible to stop. Because Machiavelli didn't just teach power, he taught velocity. And that's where your fortune begins. Fortune doesn't wait. It never has. It moves like a storm, violent, sudden, and unpredictable. And Machiavelli understood one thing better than any man alive. The ones who strike first are the ones who control the storm. The world belongs to those who act before permission is given, to those who move when others are still thinking, to those who launch when everyone else hesitates. That's the law of rapid advancement. Strike first. Most people delay their rise because they're waiting for clarity, waiting for perfect timing, waiting for someone to say, go. But here's the truth Machiavelli taught. There is no perfect moment. There's only power, and the moment you choose to take it. In The Prince, he wrote, "Fortune is a woman, and if you wish to control her, it is necessary to beat and strike her." Brutal words, yes, but the meaning is sharp. Fortune bends only to those who act boldly, not timidly. And when it comes to wealth, this law never changes. If you study the rise of every empire, every great fortune, every self-made millionaire, you'll see one defining moment. They moved first. They took the risk before it was safe. They acted before they were ready. They understood what Machiavelli called the opportunity of the moment. You see, power isn't about waiting. It's about seizing. And fortune favors speed not because the world rewards recklessness, but because it punishes hesitation. Let's visualize this. Two people see an opportunity, a new market, a business idea, an investment. One studies it endlessly, debating, calculating, asking for advice. The other strikes, makes the call, builds the product, takes the risk. By the time the first man decides, the second already dominates the space. The window of fortune has closed. That's the Machiavellian law. Inaction is decay. Because every moment you hesitate, someone else is moving. Someone else is taking the deal, hiring the talent, earning the attention you waited for. And that's why the fastest way to get rich is not by being cautious. It's by being strategically bold. Not stupid, not impulsive, strategic. There's a difference. The fool rushes in without direction. The strategist strikes with precision, but never hesitation. Machiavelli saw this in war, but it applies to wealth. A general who strikes first defines the battle. A general who waits becomes defined by it. The same applies to life. When you move first, you define the market, you shape perception, you force the world to react to you. When you move last, you're reacting to someone else's vision. Speed isn't about chaos, it's about initiative. And initiative creates advantage that compounds faster than time or luck ever could. Think of how Apple released the iPhone before competitors understood what it meant. Think of how traders jump into emerging technologies before the news reaches the masses. Think of how content creators dominate platforms early while others wait to see if it works. The first movers write the rules, the rest follow them. And Machiavelli would whisper, almost with a grin, "The ones who wait for permission to win have already lost." Let me tell you something modern society hides. The reason you've been taught to be careful, play safe, wait your turn, is because the system profits from your hesitation. The powerful don't want competition, they want compliance. So they train you to fear mistakes. But Machiavelli taught that mistakes made in motion are repairable. Mistakes made in hesitation are fatal. Because lost time can never be regained. Here's how to think like a Machiavellian strategist. When you see an opportunity, don't ask, "Is this safe?" Ask, "How can I make this mine before anyone else does?" When you feel doubt, don't freeze. Move smaller, but move now. Because movement creates momentum, and momentum creates dominance. You don't need to be the smartest. You just need to move first. The world always follows those who lead with action. That's the secret of rapid advancement. Strike before your competitors even realize there's a battle. Act before permission is given. Claim the territory while others are still asking for directions. That's how you rise faster than the rest. And here's something Machiavelli would demand of you. Don't just think fast, decide fast. Because the longer you think, the slower your future becomes. Every rich man, every powerful woman, every empire was built on one daring decision that could have gone wrong, but didn't, because they moved. So if you want wealth fast, remember this rule etched into history. Fortune favors those who strike first and never apologize for it. Because when you act boldly, when you claim space before others even wake up, you create momentum that can't be stopped. And once you control momentum, you control the game. In the next part, we go even deeper. How to weaponize momentum. How the rich and powerful turn one bold move into a chain reaction of opportunities, influence, and money. Because Machiavelli didn't just want you to strike first. He wanted you to keep striking until no one could strike back. Once you strike first, the next question is simple. How do you keep the fire burning? How do you turn one bold move into a chain reaction that makes fortune chase you? This is where most fail. They win once and stop. They take one risk, one victory, and relax, while the Machiavellian mind builds empires on that same spark. Machiavelli understood momentum as the purest form of dominance. He wrote, "Fortune is like a river. If you build the channels while the weather is calm, you direct its flood." In other words, when you have momentum, you must weaponize it. You must guide it, amplify it, and make it unstoppable. Because momentum, once controlled, replaces effort. You stop chasing wealth, and wealth starts chasing you. Let's break this down. Momentum is not luck. It's the compound effect of decisive actions executed quickly and publicly. Each action creates visibility. Visibility creates influence. Influence creates opportunities. And opportunities, when seized fast, create wealth. That's the loop. That's the machine. Machiavelli saw rulers who understood this principle rise almost overnight. They didn't wait for approval. They created a rhythm of victory, each success feeding the next. Once the people believed they were unstoppable, they became unstoppable. And here's the secret modern entrepreneurs use. The same strategy Machiavellian rulers used centuries ago. Every win must be amplified. When you succeed, even slightly, make it visible. Let the world know momentum is in your hands, because perception feeds power. When people see you moving fast, they assume you're destined to win, and belief in your destiny becomes your leverage. That's how small victories turn into massive wealth. A single product launch leads to recognition. Recognition leads to trust. Trust brings partnerships, investment, and influence. That's the Machiavellian chain reaction. The key isn't to rest after a victory. It's to build on it instantly. The moment you win, attack again. Capitalize before your rivals recover. Because if you pause, your momentum dies, and with it, your dominance. Machiavelli would call this the rhythm of conquest. Each move flows into the next with precision, with timing, with power. The one who controls the rhythm controls the game. And the rich, the truly rich, never break rhythm. They don't celebrate too long. They don't get comfortable. They move from opportunity to opportunity like lightning. That's why their success looks like luck. But it's not. It's engineered rhythm. Here's how to weaponize momentum like a Machiavellian strategist. Step 1. Capitalize immediately. After every win, ask, what does this open up for me? Every success creates new doors. Move through them before they close. Step 2. Expand visibility. Make your moves public enough to attract attention, but private enough to keep your methods hidden. Machiavelli would remind you, men are impressed by what they see, not by what they understand. Control the narrative. Let your image of constant advancement fuel your power. Step 3. Reinvest strategically. Don't hoard your gains. Redirect them to multiply speed. Money sitting still decays. Money in motion grows influence. Step 4. Build alliances. Momentum draws allies. Use that attention to connect with others who can expand your reach, multiply your power, and open new paths. Step 5. Protect the rhythm. Don't get distracted. Don't let comfort dissolve your hunger. Momentum dies when emotion replaces precision. Remember, power fades the moment you stop moving. Let's make it real. A modern entrepreneur launches a digital product. It sells. He immediately uses the profits to build a second offer, hire a team, create more visibility. Within months, his network multiplies. Within a year, his presence dominates. He weaponized momentum. Now contrast that with another man who wins once and stops to enjoy it. Momentum dies. Visibility fades. He's forgotten. Machiavelli saw this same cycle among princes. Those who relaxed after victory always lost the throne to the ones who kept conquering, because fortune doesn't stay loyal. It loves movement. It follows whoever moves fastest. So if you want the fastest path to wealth, build your rhythm. Don't move randomly. Move relentlessly. Let every step, every win, every bold act feed the next. Because momentum is self-feeding. Once you build it, the world can't ignore you. People will start to believe in your inevitability. And when people believe in your rise, they'll help build it for you. That's how Machiavellian power scales. Through influence multiplied by momentum. One man moving fast becomes a force. 1,000 men believing in his success make him unstoppable. Remember this law. The faster you move, the more the world bends around you. Momentum makes time your servant. It compresses years into months, months into weeks. That's why the powerful seem to rise overnight. Because while others sleep, they're already on their next strike. And when you move like that, fast, precise, unrelenting, wealth can't help but follow. Machiavelli would say, the one who builds motion becomes motion itself. The world cannot stop what it cannot catch. In the next part, we enter the final stage, the Machiavellian blueprint for permanent wealth. Because speed will make you rich, but strategy will make you stay rich. We'll uncover how the truly powerful sustain their wealth for decades, how they build systems that outlive them, influence that compounds, and legacies that never die. You've moved fast, you've built momentum, you've tasted power, but now comes the hardest part, keeping it. Most people can win once. A few can win fast, but only the Machiavellian mind learns how to win forever, because speed creates fortune. But strategy creates empires, and empires, unlike riches, don't vanish when the wind changes. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not titles that make men illustrious, but men who make titles illustrious." In other words, wealth without wisdom dies. But when power is built on structure, psychology, and legacy, it becomes eternal. This is the final stage of your transformation, the stage where you stop chasing wealth and start commanding it. Machiavelli taught that rulers lose power not because they are weak, but because they fail to institutionalize their strength. They depend on charisma, on presence, on constant action, but forget that no man can rule forever. so he advised princes to build systems that survive them. In wealth, this means one thing: automate power. Your goal is not to hustle forever. Your goal is to design systems that print money without you. Think of it this way. While others trade time for money, the Machiavellian investor trades systems for freedom. He builds businesses, networks, investments, not to be busy, but to be untouchable. Because when your wealth grows without your hand, you've achieved what Machiavelli called invisible rule. You control the game without appearing in it. The average rich man diversifies his assets. The Machiavellian rich man diversifies his influence. He doesn't just invest in markets. He invests in minds. He doesn't just buy stocks. He buys loyalty. He doesn't just own companies. He owns narratives. That's why the truly powerful seem to survive every crisis. They're not dependent on one stream of income, or one image, or one market. They control multiple power bases. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote that the prince must have fortresses of both stone and hearts, meaning your real defense isn't money locked away, it's the people and systems that protect your name. So never put all your power in one place. Spread it across industries, across allies, across platforms. If one domain falls, another rises to protect you. That's not diversification. That's dynasty creation. Once you've achieved wealth, your biggest enemy is exposure. Machiavelli warned that the more a ruler is understood, the easier he is to destroy. The powerful protect themselves through opacity. Never show your full plan. Never let anyone predict your next move. The moment people can read you, they can control you. This is why the rich who last, the hidden elites, operate in silence. They let others take the spotlight, while they move the strings from the shadows. In modern terms, don't reveal your strategy, reveal your results. Keep your ambition private, your movements unpredictable, your wealth untraceable. That's how you evolve from rich to untouchable. Machiavelli's most powerful insight wasn't about money or war. It was about influence. He knew that perception rules reality. To stay rich forever, you must control not just assets, but narratives. Own the story people tell about you, because when you shape perception, you shape opportunity. Use your wealth to influence institutions, culture, and ideas, not just to buy possessions. Invest in perception. It compounds faster than any stock. Think of every move you make as a message, every investment as a statement, every collaboration as a symbol. This is what Machiavelli meant when he said, "Men in general judge more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, few can touch." You must master appearances. You don't need everyone to like you, only to believe in your inevitability. That belief keeps doors open, competitors silent, and opportunity flowing. Now we come to the end game, the final move in the Machiavellian wealth strategy: immortality through legacy. Legacy isn't about dying remembered. It's about living in systems, institutions, and minds long after you've stepped back. Machiavelli wrote The Prince not just to teach rulers, but to outlive them. His ideas became his kingdom. You can do the same. Turn your knowledge, your brand, your empire into something self-sustaining. Build businesses that outlast your name. Build systems that serve others and profit you. Build teachings, products, or platforms that echo your vision long after you're gone. That's real immortality. That's how a Machiavellian mind stays rich forever. Let's strip it all down. Getting rich is fast. Staying rich is discipline. Momentum builds the empire. Systems preserve it. Power attracts fortune, but wisdom keeps it in your grasp. And here's the final Machiavellian truth. Wealth is a test of control. It reveals who you are, not what you have. Those who lose control lose everything. Those who master control rule indefinitely. That's why Machiavelli didn't write about riches for their own sake. He wrote about stability, because to him, the ultimate power wasn't money. It was command, the ability to bend chaos into order, to create permanence in a world built on change. To be the one who survives every storm, not by chance, but by design. So remember this blueprint. Move fast to create momentum. Leverage perception to multiply power. Build systems to outlive your presence. Guard your moves in silence and mystery. Expand influence until you shape the game itself. That's the Machiavellian path, from speed to dominance to immortality. Because wealth isn't about owning things, it's about owning time. And once you own time, you own the world. This is how the fastest rise and how the wise remain. Be the ruler of your fortune. Move fast, move strategically, and remember, Machiavelli was never about power alone. He was about control, and control once mastered makes you rich forever.